First of all, I'd like to thank Penny Clark for donating this image that she calls Flashback. And she did a great job here. Great job on the wardrobe and the accessories, and definitely looks like it's a 40s, 50s style picture. We've got a very beautiful model here, a nice setting, very nice lighting. Now this particular image is straight out of the camera. She shared the raw file with me. This is the image that she actually turned in for a competition, and you can see she's done some work on the eyes and everything. She's done a very nice job here. I asked for this image because it's good portrait image. There's really nothing wrong with this image, but there are some things we could do just to improve it, just to give it a little more pop. Now, of course, this is objective, although this is something you might want to do. The point of this is not to show you how to make a better image, but looking at an image, what you might want to do to it to maybe improve it a little bit. So let's start with, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this image here, that layer there, her original or her competition version of the image. And let me just stretch this out just a little bit so we can see this, make this fit here a little bit better. Okay. And let's talk about a couple of things that we might do to this image. Now I've already gone ahead for the sake of time, and as you can see here I have these proposed edits, and this is going to fill the screen up with all kinds of markup, but we're going to cover each one of these. So here's some things that we might talk about. First, let's start down here in the bottom right hand corner where we want to talk about removing these marks on her skin. So I'm going to zoom into each one of these sections so we can talk about it close up, and you can see some indentations on her skin, and these are all just very light touches, something that you may not even notice, but a lot of this stuff is just subtle yet significant is the term I like to use. I learned that term way back from a photographer and editor by the name of Chris Orwig. So some skin indentations there. Another thing we were talking about here is, that I noticed anyways, is her skin color from down here. Let's turn this off for a second. Her skin color from down here, just about everywhere else to right here, this gets quite a bit lighter. Again, fairly subtle. I know it's mainly because of the light. You can see how white her fingers are in this. I'm just going to try to even this out a little bit, maybe even up her arm a little bit, and maybe right in here. Let's see what else we have here that we wanted to do. A couple of blemishes right there on her chin. Right there we probably want to take care of. You might want to, you can see where the makeup artist either added this mole or enhanced what she already had there. Either way, maybe want to touch this up a little bit. Then we have, of course, eyes. Eyes you almost want to do in any kind of portrait. We generally want to whiten this up a little bit, give her eye a little bit more contrast, and brighten that up a little bit. We want to maybe add some contrast to her hair. And then we have this stray hair right here on her forehead that we're probably going to want to get rid of that. This is going to be a little tricky. We're going to spend some time right here. Now you may be okay with that, and that's fine. This is just to kind of show you some Photoshop techniques. Then we have these flyaway hairs, which we'll address. Let's see what else we have here. Of course, some of this sensor dust that we have here in the background. Another little tricky thing we're going to try to do is extend this fur that she's sitting on so that doesn't end here. I think that might help the image just a little bit if we had that extended out. And do we have anything else? Flyaways, the covers? Oh yeah, and if we have some time, we'll take care of these, the shoes, the skid marks or the skidding on the bottom of these shoes, or the texture here kind of gives away and makes these shoes look more modern. I'm sure they do anyways, but let's not make it, see if we can keep it from being as obvious as it actually is. So there we have some ideas of the direction that we want to take this image, and this is always a good idea to do just on a new layer. Just go in here and start marking your image up and see what you want to change, just kind of as a guide to help you move through this. You may not want to sit and do this in one sitting. You may want to do a little bit at a time, and you may forget. So it's just nice to have this kind of as a guide. In our next video, we'll talk about how to get rid of skin blemishes, both down here on her arm and maybe a few up here on her face.